Hay empresas en Colombia que han sobrevivido por décadas a los vaivenes de la economía. Una de ellas es Tecnoquimicas, hoy líder en el sector de las farmacéuticas en el país.
De las 1.000 empresas con mayores ingresos en Colombia en el 2022, Tecnoquimicas ocupó el puesto 59. Es una generadora de empleo. El 89% de sus colaboradores, es decir, 8.700, están en el país y el 11% en el exterior.
Tecnoquimicas is a Colombian company with more than 35 years of experience in international markets. It started through indirect exports, and since 2001, it has strengthened its presence by operating directly in foreign markets, especially in Ecuador and Central America. This documentary, I will explain how MK products move from raw materials to the final patient, including logistics, international trade challenges, and key decisions that impact the global supply chain.
International strategy. From my analysis, Tecnoquimicas follows a progressive internationalization strategy. At the beginning, the company entered a foreign market to indirect exports. This allowed them to test demand with lower risk. And later, they evolved into direct operations, especially in key markets like Ecuador and Central America. This shows a shift toward more control over distribution, customer relationships. Today, even though most sales are still concentrated in Colombia, international participation is growing steadily.
Totalmente confiable.
The most important international markets include Ecuador, El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panamá y República Dominicana.
Ecuador and Central America are the strongest region, where the company has more consolidated operations.
From a supply chain perspective, the company is highly focused on distribution channels rather than specific clients. The channels are pharmacies, independent drugstores, distributors, healthcare institutions, clinics and hospitals, and retail, that is the secondary participation.
Here, something very important happens. Because pharmaceutical products depend heavily on prescriptions and recommendations, pharmacies become the most critical link in the chain.
That's why MK prioritizes the channel in both domestic and international markets.
Also, the company prefers working with distributors, especially internationally, because they improve service levels and ensure a better market coverage.
Supply chain from raw materials to patient. Now I explain the full supply chain. Everything starts with raw material sourcing. More than 90% of raw materials are imported mainly from Spain, USA, Germany, Netherlands, and France.
The company works with over 1,000 international suppliers. many of which also supply major global pharmaceutical companies. Then we move to production, which is mainly located in Colombia. After production, the process continues with distribution and logistics, where products are transported to distribution centers, pharmacies, and healthcare institutions. Next comes communication and demand generation, which is very important in this industry.
Next comes communications and demand generation, which is very important in this industry. Demand is driven by doctors, which is prescriptions, pharmacists, recommendations, mass media for MK, especially TV campaigns measured by TRP.
Tomo y recomiendo Biocalcium Plus MK todos los días, porque con el paso del tiempo, nuestro cuerpo pierde masa ósea más rápido de lo que puede recuperarla. Biocalcium Plus MK cuenta con una fórmula con vitamina D y 5 minerales que le da una mayor fijación de calcio a tus huesos y es suave con el estómago. Biocalcium Plus MK.
And finally, the product reaches the end consumer, either through prescription or through direct purchase.
Transportation modes. Tecnoquimicas uses a multimodal transportation system. Land transport, used within Colombia. Maritime transport, main mode for international shipments. Air transport. Used only for urgent or high priority deliveries. Maritime transport is the most important for exports, but it also creates major challenges due to long transit times and depending on shipping schedules.
Now I will explain the main logistic challenges. First, at the national level, ground transportation in Colombia can be slow, which affects delivery times. At the international level, we have that shipments depend on maritime transport, a strict booking deadline must be met, and missing a shipment can mean lost sales opportunities. There are also unexpected disruptions.
For example, there was a case where a ship failed to dock in Panama, causing a 1-month delay in sales. Additionally, high logistic costs directly impact final products prices. Coordination between countries is complex. Infrastructure limitation in some markets affect distribution. All of this makes logistics a critical factor in competitiveness.
International trade challenges. From an international business perspective, the company faces several challenges. One of the most important is tariffs, especially in Ecuador, which increases costs and reduces competitiveness. There is also a strong dependence on production in Colombia, which requires very precise coordination between production and distribution. Another key issue is stockouts in Central America caused by demand and supply mismatches. And finally, delays in order fulfillment affect customer satisfaction and operational efficiency.
Regulatory barriers. One of the most complex aspects of the supply chain is regulation. The company faces tariffs in international markets, strict price and margin regulations, and strong pharmaceutical control, especially for psychotropic medicines, anti-infectives. These regulations require a strict compliance and make operations more complex, particularly when operating across multiple countries with different legal frameworks.
The inventory management varies depending on the channel. About international distributors, around 2 or 3 months of inventory. Pharmacy chains around 1 month, and Colombia in general around 1 month again. About regarding service level, there is no exact data available, but the company shows a clear preference for a distributors since direct service models are not considered optimal. This suggests that distributors play a key role in ensuring reliability and availability.
Sustainability. In terms of sustainability, there is no detailed public information about specific policies. However, based on logistics models, I can infer that the company uses a multimodal transport system. There is a focus on efficiency and optimization. Even so, there is no clear data on environmental impact measurement for more sustainability strategies. So, this is an area with potential for future improvement.
Now, an interesting insight is that client type has limited impact on logistic structures. What really matters is access to distribution channels. For example, direct access means faster and more efficient distribution, and no direct access means standard logistic processes. Overall, the system is designed to be standardized with distributors playing a central role.
To conclude, Tecnoquimicas has built a strong and structured supply chain supported by international sourcing, centralized production, multimodal logistics, and strong distribution networks. However, the company also faces important challenges such as high logistic costs, regulatory complexity, dependence on maritime transport, and coordination across multiple markets. In our opinion, the key success factor is their ability to adapt and coordinate all these elements efficiently. This allows MK to remain competitive not only in Colombia but also in growing international markets. Thank you.